This week on Machinery Pete TV. Oh, what a sight! Sullivan Auctioneers' massive classic car auction features some dream machines, and it doesn't get better than this '68 Shelby GT500. A Farmall field find brings back great memories. And Pete looks back at a 2014 sale of a D21 that people still talk about.
Your machinery is a serious investment and at the heart of every farming operation. Some call it a passion. We're Machinery Pete TV, and today we'll cover everything from auction roundups to the classics to the latest trends and technology. Machinery Pete, the most trusted name in farm equipment.
Machinery Pete thanks these premier sponsors for their support. Sullivan Auctioneers. Let our team of professionals show you how to make your auction a success. Visit sullivanauctioneers.com. A&I Products is a lower cost, quality replacement parts solution for all types and ages of ag equipment across all brands. Visit aiproducts.com. Hey folks, welcome to Machinery Pete TV. This week coming to you from Carthage, Illinois. Came down here to visit our great friends at Sullivan Auctioneers. Now, we've watched the guys sell farm machinery for years. They do a fantastic job, but this is something different. This is their two-day no-reserve classic vehicle auction. And this thing has grown exponentially over the past 16 years, folks. And I tell you what, when we go inside their amazing facility here, we are gonna see some cool stuff. But first, we gotta go back to the studio, catch up on the latest farm equipment news.
All right, thanks, Pete. I'm Clinton Griffiths. Higher input costs are still a big concern for farmers right now, and that continues to factor into the latest Ag Economy Barometer from Purdue University and the CME Group. Now, the index drifting lower again in September to a reading of 112. That's 5 points lower than a month earlier. The decline in farmer sentiment was primarily due to producers' weaker perception of current conditions.
Once again this month, we asked producers what their biggest concerns are for their farming operation in the upcoming year. No surprise that 44% of the producers in this month's survey chose higher input cost, but we did detect more concern among producers about the impact of rising interest rates. This month, 23% of the producers said rising interest rates was their number one concern. That's up from 14% last month.
Also, the Farm Capital Investment Index declined to a record low of 31 in September as producers continue to say they do not view this as a good time to make large investments in their farming operations. As demand for natural gas surges in Europe, the White House is reportedly ruling out banning natural gas exports here at home. Reuters says an analysis conducted by the White House on potentially limiting energy exports to ease consumer prices found the action would be too extreme and that it could negatively affect key relationships with European countries. Now, those countries are trying to replace energy supplies from Russia. That's it for news. Now let's check on some recent auctions from around the country.
Hey folks, I'm smiling because I am in Carthage, Illinois at Sullivan Auctioneers. Amazing facility here with Craig Hoyer, sales manager, Sullivan Auctioneers, on this fantastic collector vehicle auction. And Craig, right as we walk in here, boy, you've got some headliners on the sale, leading off with this Shelby right here. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, it's a 1968 Shelby GT500, all original. It's had a one owner for 46 years, and it is just about as perfect as you can get.
And the Shelbys, I mean, they have been, hotter than hot for quite some time.
Ever since Gone in 60 Seconds, I think.
There you go.
They've been hot since then.
And the color on this thing, man, beautiful.
I believe they call that Highland Green.
Highland green, that sounds about right.
Highland Green. It's got a Marty report that goes with it, and this is
Now that Marty report, car vehicle expert, right?
car vehicle expert, and he only does Fords, Kevin Marty. But you know, when he breaks it all down, it shows it that this was one of one that made it to the Midwest.
Wow. And this thing, yeah, this thing could be headed. I know you guys have kind of a Hall of Fame. Your pictures of vehicles sold over $100,000 on your auctions here. You might be destined to be heading up on the wall, huh?
I think for sure it'll be destined for the wall.
So what do we got? What do we got here now?
This is a '63 Chevy Corvette split window, and this one is fuel injected.
Ooh, so the fuel injected split window. How rare is this combination?
It's a rare combination, a very desirable combination.
What is it about that split window? That was kind of initially kind of a mistake, or?
It was a 1 year only, and you know, if you're in the driver's seat and you're looking out the back, it's kind of hard to see with a great big post down the center.
Right. But at this point now, because it's that rare.
Because it's rare and a little dangerous, you know, it just makes it that much more valuable.
Speaking of dangerous, man, that looks like you could have some dangerous fun in that thing, in a good way.
You could have some dangerous fun in that.
Wow. Well, folks, I'm here with Joe Sullivan with Sullivan Auctioneers. And Joe, I've been wanting to do this special episode of Machinery Pete TV for so long to focus on your collector car memorabilia auction. I'm glad it finally worked out.
It's awesome that you came down, Greg. It's turned into a big deal. It's a lot of fun, and it gets interest from all over the country and all over the world.
Yeah, this has been amazing how this event has grown, Joe. Walk us through the growth from 06 up till here we are in 2022.
Yeah, in 06, the first sale, I believe we had somewhere around 38, 39, 40 cars total. But we saw that we had, at that point, the biggest crowd we'd ever had on site for a machinery sale or anything else. There was just such interest.
You correct me if I'm wrong, but so you were a car guy, but did you have one local customer that was sort of telling you, hey, Joe, you guys should do a collector car auction?
Yeah, it's kind of a funny story. There's a fellow there in Hamilton, Illinois, that his father had died, and his father had 4 collector cars. And he tried to get, and he was friends with my brother Jim, and he tried to get Jim to have a classic car auction. Of course, Jim just wanted to sell tractors and combines and land. And so my brother Jim met me in the hallway one day, and he said, you ought to talk to Steve, his dad wants. So I went and talked to him, and he said, my dad has 4 cars, they're nice, we'll sell them no reserve. I've got a couple buddies that have a car. So I put it online that we were going to have this huge collector car auction, and had about half a dozen cars, and ended up getting about 40, and it was just a big success.
Now that you said you had a huge crowd that day, your biggest crowd.
We couldn't hold them. I mean, it was just amazing. People from all over the country came to the sale.
Like a light bulb moment, like we got something here.
Yeah. So we started having one every year. It was always typically the first Monday in April.
Okay.
And we had snowstorms and rain and tornadoes and blowing tents down, and we kind of had all the bad weather that you could possibly have. Then we had our last live sale in Quincy, Illinois at the Oakley-Lindsay Convention Center. And that was really nice, and we were planning on being there kind of forever.
Yep.
And then the pandemic hit.
Here are a few more items that sold on today's sale. Hey folks, great pleasure to be joined by my friend Dan Sullivan with Sullivan Auctioneers here. Now Dan, I have to start by asking you about your son Michael.
Oh, thank you for asking.
How is Michael feeling these days?
He's doing very good. You always ask about him, Greg, and I appreciate that. He's of course back home. We do go to the Mayo Clinic. We're down now to about every other month, It was pretty much monthly, but the last checkup we were there about 3 weeks ago for 3 days, and getting along good. He's at work now, and if he walked up to you, you'd never know he was sick, and just very, very fortunate. A lot of prayers and a lot of thoughts out there for him.
We're so happy to hear that, Dan. And again, thank you for that event you did, and I think you raised $500,000 for Mayo Clinic Research Leukemia. Everywhere I go, people are asking me about that and about how Mike. So it's great to hear Michael's.
Thank you.
Is feeling well.
He's doing great. Thank you.
Now I have to ask you. Here we're 2+ years down the road from when the pandemic hit, and Sullivan Auctioneers, you guys pivoted immediately. I give you guys immense credit for making that difficult change, going online only. One, was that hard to leave that behind, or what was that like the 2 years here since the pandemic hit?
I'm a little surprised. I thought I would kind of miss it more, and I guess the reason I love people, I love being on the microphone, but I also know that to compete in today's environment and the changes out there, that you have to make changes. So I think all these changes to online is there's no, I'm not reluctant about it or think, well, we have people do ask us that, Greg, Dan, gosh darn it, I miss it. I miss the camaraderie, the coffee, the donuts, this and that. I get it. I totally get it. And they say, when are you going back? And I kind of hate to break their hearts, but I said, we're not. I mean, why would you? But now, when we go and show the potential person having a retirement sale, you can show them, that the amount of bidders we have, and everybody is able to bid online. Compliment our team that we have, the job they do, taking pictures, the amount of information we put out there, no buyer's premium, and we feel that our prices are, towards the top of the table.
Hey, welcome back to Tractor Tales, folks. This week, we got a story for you on a Farmall Cub that attracts a lot of interest from young tractor enthusiasts.
What we got here is a 1949 Cub that I rescued from a field about 15 years ago. I used to drive one of these when I was in high school working for the city schools with a mower under it, so I had a lot of good memories about Cubs. Put it together, restored it. It was in pretty bad shape. It was way worse shape than anything I'd ever tackled, but turned out good, and had used it, played with it, showed it, used it around here, got a blade for it, and a plow, and that sort of thing, and so it was useful, and I still use it for that kind of stuff here. I saw a guy at a show that had a platform built on the back of his, and he used it just to haul stuff around the show, his lunch basket, and that sort of thing. And that's kind of cool. And I realized that with that platform back there, I could stand on the back of it, and I could reach over a kid, and I could steer it if I had to. I could hit the throttle, I could hit the gear shift, and I could kill it with a kill switch that I mounted behind the seat. So when I take it to shows, I put the platform on it, and we announce tractor driving lessons are open, and kids come over, grandmas, kids, you name it. And I have one solid rule that prevents fights, and that is the kid gets on the seat. If he can set his rear in the seat and take his left foot and push the clutch down all the way, you're qualified. I'll have it running, slow idle, put it in low with the kid's foot all the way down on the clutch, and then say, okay, let up easy, and some do and some don't. But in this thing in low gear, it doesn't matter. I've never been thrown off the back by that. And then let them drive it. They can steer it, they can go anywhere they want to, and I can always grab the steering wheel and adjust it if I have to. I can kill it if they're about to run over grandma, but kids love it. And they'll come back to our show year after year to come back and drive the tractor.
Got equipment to sell privately but tired of scams and hassles? Visit MachineryPete.com and click Sell Mine. MachineryPete.com, the simple and secure way to buy and sell equipment online.
Tell us, about this rig, Craig?
It's a 70 Superbird. It's got a numbers matching 440 with a 6-pack, and it is just the epitome of cool.
Yeah, it doesn't get much cooler than this, does it?
No.
This was kind of a headline on some of your flyer materials, and the look of the car from front to back is just outstanding. Is this now? Joe was telling me that when these vehicles came out, that I mean, people were actually driving the kids to school in them and to ball practice, and
you could buy this from the dealership and it'd be your daily driver, and you're going to pick up groceries and you got a great big spoiler on the back. You had to be seen.
Driving around with that big spoiler, man, and Roadrunner there, that, yeah, like you say, it just doesn't get any cooler. What year did you say this one was again?
It's a 70, and this particular car comes with a whole binder full of documentation, and right here it says $439 or $4,939 you could have got this car for.
In 1970. Mm-hmm. We need that, Craig, we need that time machine to go back to 1970 and buy us some vehicles, don't we?
Buy all the Superbirds you could.
Wow. And what kind of comments do you get from people when they come into the facility here and they start looking at this thing?
You walk in and everyone just stops here. It's a rare car. It's a cool car. I mean, it's over the top, obviously. I mean, you got the front nose piece, the spoiler, the Roadrunner on it.
Roadrunner, yeah.
That
takes me back to Saturday mornings.
Saturday morning.
Yeah, good stuff. And the color, oh.
Yes.
Just fantastic. Well, just about 33 years now, folks, I've been covering auctions, compiling sale prices, and as I look back over the years, I tell you there's definitely a few sales and special days that stick out in my memory, one of which was June 28th of 2014 in Bedford, Iowa. Now, this was a collector auction for Keen Thummel and our friends at Polk Auction Company out of New Paris, Indiana. Dennis and the crew came over to do the collector auction. And Keen's collection of Alice Chalmers tractors and John Deere vintage tractors, a lot of muscle tractors, was just amazing. And one of the tractors, at least on the Alice Chalmers side of things that day, that people still talk about was the restored D21 that had been converted to a front-wheel drive. And I was there that day shooting a YouTube video, and here's a clip of it. You can watch it sell there. It brought $48,500. I'll never forget the reaction of ringman, my friend J.R. Sims, as it sold, as they almost got another bid for $49,000. But that $48,500 is still the record high auction price on a D21. But I tell you, there was another Alice Chalmers tractor on that same auction, June 28th to 14. Here's a picture of it, an Alice 7000 that had been restored, and it brought $23,250, which is still the all-time record high auction price on an Alice 7000, although it almost got caught here recently on the evening of September 8th of 2022 on an auction in Winchester, Indiana by Flesher Brothers Auctioneering and Real Estate. And here's a picture of the tractor. It was a 79 model. Only had 2,648 hours on it, and it sold for $23,000. So just a whisker under the second highest auction price I've ever seen on an Alice 7000. Well, I tell you what, folks, you never know what you might see here on Machinery Pete TV. For example, maybe 3 vintage rare automobiles selling for almost $600,000 total. What fun to get up close and see that 1970 Plymouth Superbird selling for $260,000. Then the 1963 Corvette Coupe split rear window, rare deal there, $170K. And of course that 1968 Shelby coming in at $166. Big thank you to our friends at Sullivan Auctioneers and Joe Sullivan for inviting us down to get an up close look and get the story on this auction and these beautiful machines. And I tell you what, folks, better tune in here next week to Machinery Pete TV. Never know what you might see. Machinery Pete thanks these premier sponsors for their support. Sullivan Auctioneers. Let our team of professionals show you how to make your auction a success. Visit sullivanauctioneers.com. A&I Products is the lower cost, quality replacement parts solution for all types and ages of ag equipment across all brands. Visit aiproducts.com.